Hey guys, alright? Welcome everyone. In the not-so-distant future, in the year 2077, an alien species called the Scavengers plans to attack Earth in search of its resources. First, they destroy the moon, causing a series of tsunamis and earthquakes on Earth. While humans recover from the natural disasters, the Scavengers attack them, triggering a war between the two species. In the end, humans eventually win the war using nuclear weapons. However, as a consequence, Earth becomes uninhabitable, as much of it becomes a radioactive wasteland. To survive, humans evacuate to one of Saturn's moons called Titan. This evacuation is coordinated by authorities who reside on a large spaceship in orbit around Earth called the TET. The TET has also installed hydroelectric generators on Earth, which are used to convert seawater into fusion energy for the humans on Titan. The last two humans on Earth are a couple. The husband, Jack Harper, and his wife Vika live in a high tower above the clouds. Both work for the TET and manage the hydroelectric generators. Jack serves as Tech 49, whose job also involves repairing drones, devices designed to detect and eliminate the scavengers, also known as remaining scavengers on Earth. Vika, for the most part, stays inside the tower to oversee him, acting as his coordinator. At the beginning of the film, Jack wakes up from a dream about an unknown woman. He has been having recurring dreams for a long time. Jack narrates that he does not remember anything that happened before the war, as his memories were erased to maintain the mission's secrecy. The couple's mission on Earth will be completed in 2 weeks, after which they will join others on Titan, leaving Earth devoid of humans. They continue their normal morning routine, and then Jack sets out for his regular inspection of the scavenger fighting drones. He notices that 2 of them were damaged by the scavengers overnight. Meanwhile, Vika contacts the mission director of the TET, named Sally, and informs her of everything that is happening on Earth. Jack arrives at the broken drone and lands to repair it, while Vika assists by monitoring the area for scavengers. Jack successfully manages to repair the drone, even though he has limited equipment. The drone quickly flies away after scanning Jack and determining that he is not a threat. Next, Jack searches for the second drone but is disappointed when Vika tells him they lost the signal. Without the signal, they have difficulty finding the drone, but Jack decides to search for it on his own. He traverses the lands that were once oceans and reaches a hole in the ground. Jack finds the second drone inside it, but Vika asks him to leave as it is too dangerous. However, Jack ignores her and ties a rope to his bike to descend into the hole. Upon seeing this, Vika requests mission control to send a support team to Jack's location. When Jack reaches the bottom, he finds the remnants of an old building. He manages to reach the drone but soon realizes it's a trap set by the scavengers. They pull him by the leg, but Jack uses his weapon and fights back. In the end, he is nearly killed, but the backup drone arrives in time. He kills all the scavengers and saves Jack. After everything settles down, Jack returns home. Jack had been cultivating a blossoming plant, which he gives to Vika as a gift. To his disappointment, she discards it, claiming it could contain toxins. During dinner, Jack reveals that the scavengers were trying to capture him today. He is confused about why they don't want to kill him, but Vika dismisses the conversation and seductively invites him to the pool. Jack joins her later, and the night ends with a kiss. The following morning, they are awakened by the sound of a loud explosion. Jack quickly gets into his jet and flies to the area where the explosion occurred. Sally calls Vika and informs her that one of the hydroelectric platforms had a nuclear fusion meltdown and was permanently destroyed. On his way to the scene, Jack receives a strange radio signal from an unknown source. This intrigues him, so he follows it to the signal's source. He arrives at the wreckage of the Empire State Building, which he frequently visits in his recurring dream. Jack cuts a wire and turns off the signal, thinking it might be useful to the scavengers. He performs a parameter check and almost crosses into the radiation zone, where they are not allowed to enter. Before heading back home, he goes to a house in the middle of the forest that he found during one of his expeditions. He comes here whenever he feels sad and has decorated the house with ornaments. Jack eventually falls asleep and dreams of an unknown girl at the Empire State Building. Sometime later, he wakes up upon seeing a sort of pod falling from the sky and quickly gets into his jet. At the same time, Vika contacts him to inform him of the pod's location. Vika also contacts Sally, who tells them to ignore the pod, as they've had enough trouble for the day. Following the order, Vika asks Jack to return home, but he ignores her and lands at the crash site. There, he realizes that the pod is a pre-war device. Jack is puzzled to find hibernation capsules with humans inside them. He becomes even more surprised to see that one of the women inside the hibernation capsule is the girl he always sees in his dreams. Before he can understand what's happening, a drone arrives at the scene and begins shooting at the hibernation capsule, scanning them as if they were scavengers. It destroys all the capsules, but Jack prevents it from killing the girl. As he transfers the girl to take her home, some nearby scavengers observe them. Back at the tower, Vika is surprised to see Jack with the hibernation capsule. They quickly remove the girl from the capsule, and she calls out Jack's name before fainting. Sometime later, she regains consciousness and introduces herself as Julie. Furthermore, she says nothing about her mission or her crew. While the three of them have a meal, Jack tells Julie about the war that led humans to evacuate Earth. He says Julie must have been in that cocoon for over 60 years, but the girl just laughs at that idea. Later that night, Vika tells Jack that she wants Julie to leave. She wants to inform her existence to Mission Control and have them take her to Titan as well. However, Jack rebuffs, saying that the drones sent by Mission Control tried to kill her, so asking for their help would be foolish. As they talk, a scavenger at the foot of the tower watches them with binoculars. Next, we see Julie looking out into the horizon through a window. She asks Jack to take her to her ship to retrieve the flight recorder. She feels like she's in a dream and needs to know what happened to her crew before the crash. Jack hesitates, stating that the scavengers are active at night, but Julie insists. Finally, they fly back to the crash site again. A distressed Vika awaits them at home, disturbed by her husband getting closer to another woman. The other two reach the location and retrieve the flight recorder. But before they can return, they are attacked and knocked out by the scavengers. Vika sees this through the cameras and panics. The next morning, she receives a call from Sally, who asks for reports. Vika doesn't mention Julie and makes up an excuse for Jack's absence. Meanwhile, Jack and Julie are tied up and taken to the scavenger hideout. To Jack's surprise, a human being is sitting in front of him. The man introduces himself as Malcolm Beach and seems to recognize Jack. He asks Jack if he remembers things from his past, but Jack says his memories were erased for his own good. Beach then questions him if he has ever seen a scavenger up close. At that moment, the lights come on, and several humans on platforms are seen. Jack is shocked, as he believed he and Vika were the only ones left on Earth. Finally, Beach tells Jack that the scavengers they have been killing are actually human beings, and Mission Control was lying to him. The thought is unbelievable to Jack, and he declares it a lie. They then take Jack to show him the hideout and tell him about their mission. They want to destroy the Tet, which is siphoning Earth's resources. To do this, they brought Julia's ship, the Odyssey, with them. The ship had explosives that had the power to blow up the Tet. Now, they have the explosives and have a drone to plant the explosive, but the only one who can program the drone is Jack, so they need his help. However, Jack retaliates by saying that there are human beings up there on the Tet that he can't kill. An angry sergeant threatens to kill Julia if Jack doesn't agree. At that moment, a drone arrives at the hideout's entrance and scans it for scavengers. Being informed of the intruder, base soldiers sacrifice themselves to destroy the drone and fortunately succeed. Beach takes Jack out of the second entrance and asks him to go to the radiation zone for answers. Finally, Beach allows Jack and Julia to go their way, and they fly to the Empire State Building. There, Jack tells her about his dreams, and, to his surprise, Julia reveals that she is his wife. Before everything happened, they were sent on a research flight mission to Titan. The crew consisted of 5 people in hibernation capsules, while Vika and Jack piloted the spacecraft. But before they reached Titan, they discovered an alien object in space. This alien object was the Tet. Julia has no memory of what happened afterward, but Jack starts remembering the time when he and Julia were in love. They get closer to kiss, but they are interrupted by Jack's jet, which came to pick them up. Vika sees the two approaching through the cameras and is heartbroken. When Jack and Julia return to the tower, Vika doesn't let them in. She informs Mission Control about Julia and says that Jack is unfit for service. To their surprise, Mission Control assigns a drone to kill them since they are no longer useful. The drone kills Vika, but Jack is saved at the last minute. He and Julia flee from the tower only to be pursued by the drones. They engage in an intense aerial battle, and their jet crashes in the radiation zone. Jack regains his composure and sees a jet flying above him. To his complete surprise, another Jack emerges from the jet. Both are utterly shocked to see each other. The only difference between the two is that Jack's code is Tech 49, and the doppelganger's code is Tech 52. They engage in a fight, and 49 quickly overpowers 52, but Julia is shot in the process. Jack thinks of ways to save her and enters 52's jet. He flies to 52's tower and finds his wife Vika. Jack can't comprehend that behind the radiation zone, there is his doppelganger living the same life as him. He acquires a healing device from the tower and returns to save Julia. He and Julia then head to the lakeside house that Jack often visits. The next day, they return to the scavenger hideout and meet Beach again. Beach finally reveals that the Tet is actually an intelligent alien device that travels through the galaxy to steal resources from planets. It had its eye on Earth for a long time. The ship that Julia and Jack were on was attacked by the Tet, but Jack managed to detach the capsule with the hibernation pods before he and Vika were captured. After that, the Tet created various versions of Jack and Vika and sent them to take over humanity. Their memories were erased so they wouldn't question the mission, but Beach saw Jack save Julie and understood that he was different. Finally, he brings Jack back to the side of the humans. Now, Jack repairs the drone that was supposed to carry the explosive to the Tet and destroy it. But before they can launch it, they are attacked by 3 more drones. A fight unfolds between Beach's group and the drones, in which most of the team is killed. Ultimately, Beach is gravely injured, and the drone they were supposed to launch is also destroyed. Now, Jack takes on the responsibility of carrying the explosive to the Tet. Julie insists on accompanying him, so he puts her in a hibernation capsule, and the two head toward the Tet. On the way, Jack listens to the flight recording that was recovered from Julie's ship. As he listens, he remembers what happened on the ship before they were captured. In the present, Jack finally arrives at the Tet, and the doors open for him to enter. Inside, he sees thousands of his clones being created in incubation pods. Finally, he comes face to face with the Tet, which is a triangular device. Jack then opens the hibernation capsule in front of him, only to reveal that Beach is inside it. He left Julie safely at the lakeside house and brought Beach with him so the Tet wouldn't suspect his intentions. He finally triggers the explosion and destroys the alien device, saving humanity and Earth's resources. However, both Jack and Beach die in the explosion. Cut to 3 years later, Julia has given birth to Jack's daughter, and they still live in the lakeside house. One day, they are approached by Beach's surviving team. The team has also brought Jack version Tech 52 with them. The movie then ends as he reunites with Julia, looking at her and their daughter, relieved to finally be home.